You could be forgiven for thinking that after our oval race last week, we are returning to normalcy. But the reality is that even though we are back on the road course, this is anything but normal for these Lotus 49 drivers, as we are at a new track on the iRacing service. Hello everyone, and welcome to Hockenheim for round 10 of the Grand Prix Legends series, where we are getting set to watch all of the racing action unfold live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hello everyone, I'm Samuel Ryman, and joining me in the booth is Ryan Walker. Behind the scenes is our director Sean Ambrose, and he is using camera sets provided by Dougie Beard. Hockenheim is up there on the list with the likes of Spa, Monza, Silverstone and Monaco when it comes to historic racetrack venues, and there's a lot to talk about when it comes to the thrills that this circuit has offered over the years. So let's take a closer look at Hockenheim with our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Hockenheim. Located just an hour away from the border of France, this is a German track whose nature has changed drastically over its history. Once an eye-watering blast through long straights in the forest, it has since been truncated to its current format. With 6 different layouts ranging between 2.5 and 4.5 kilometers containing 13 to 16 turns, depending on which you choose, it's got something for just about every level of racing. This means it would fit everything from club cars up to Formula One. And that's perhaps what it's most well known for. One of the regular hosts for the German Grand Prix, it has been the scene of multiple dramatic moments, some triumphant, some tragic. Its redesign in the early 2000s gave it a few well-placed overtaking spots. The Parabolica entrance can create a good sneak attack, but even if you don't get it done there, the huge run towards the tight and slow Spitz curve is the place most well known for overtakes. If neither of those work, on rare occasions, Mercedes Corner can see drivers manage to pass one another. While the straights certainly aren't as long as the old version, it still requires a good deal of top speed to be competitive. But driver beware, throttle control can often make or break your lap on the latter half of the circuit. All in all, German race fans can be assured to find great action no matter your tastes in racing at this fantastic venue.
So that is a general view of Hockenheim, but we're not racing on the regular Grand Prix configuration. We're not even racing on the historic configuration. Brian, why don't you tell our viewers what exactly our drivers are up against today?
Yeah, today we'll be using the outer layout at this fantastic Hockenheim track, and the track it's went through some changes in the past few years. Notoriously, or famously, I should say. The F1 Grand Prix used to use that long straight after turn 1, but unfortunately it got taken away and the track got reconfigured in 2002. But the track is 2.272 miles in length, or 4.38 kilometers if you prefer to use that. As you know, it's host to the Formula 1 German Grand Prix, and it also hosts the ADAC GT Masters and the DTM. So today Today it will be host to the Grand Prix Legends series as well, and I think around this Hockenheim track, these cars should be in for a bit of an interesting time.
Absolutely, I would agree there, and qualifying is underway right now with 27 drivers in a single split. Let's take a look at some of the top names so far after the first 9 rounds of the season. There you see Mick Claridge is leading the championship, having won all but 2 races. The 2 that he has lost have been the ones from the past 2 weeks. At Suzuka, where he made a mistake and blew the engine, and also at Michigan last week, which was an oval course, and it was a little bit of a crapshoot. Topi Cotonemi sits there second in the points all alone because he's got another 50-point lead over Ove Trandre down there in third. And in fact, Ove's got a handy lead over Michel Dudignon as well, who was our win at Suzuka, and Rob Olyanek rounding out our top 5. It's not the only Drivers' Championship though. Ryan, you've got the F2 standings.
Yeah, the F2 Championship at the moment is still really close, with Finland's Jani Lehmann still leading the championship, but he's only 21 points ahead of Dave Cohen in second. And Robert Plumley rounds out the top 3. And Andrew N from the United States sits in 4th, with Emmanuel Pereira rounding out the top 5. So at the top of the championship with regards to the F2 Championship, it's still all to play for with Lehmann and Cohen, and I think it's going to be an interesting battle leading up to the end of the season.
The third championship we have going on is the Nations Cup, where each driver from their nationality is competing kind of as a team, if you will. The United Kingdom is absolutely dominating, thanks primarily to, of course, our championship leader, Mick Claridge. United States is quite close to Finland for second place. I have a feeling that the oval at Michigan last week probably helped give the US a little bit of a boost, so that battle for second is going on quite close. And Norway and France not too far apart for fourth and fifth in the Nations Cup. Ryan, one more graphic to bring up here for our viewers, and that is our race details.
Absolutely. So this is round 10 of the 12-round season. So we're getting towards the end of the season, and yeah, amazingly, it was only yesterday that the season started, and the race length for today will be 21 laps with a standing start, with the setup being open as always, so you are free to make any changes that you want to. And the incident limits is 17x. That'll be a penalty, and if you get to 25x or over, that will be an automatic disqualification from the race. And some places to watch out here for off tracks as well, especially turn 1. If you run wide ever so slightly, you can get on off track. So these drivers are going to have to keep that in mind.
We were watching Topi Kortenemi there, who was our provisional pole sitter, but you see he has just been bumped by Mick Claridge, only by a couple hundredths of a second there. Though Ove Trendre across the line, he is fourth fastest so far, and they're hopping over the curb in turn 1, which is always a bit of a tricky turn, no matter what configuration you're racing at. This is that infamous stadium section. And one thing I always love watching the old clips here, and also hopefully we'll get it back once this COVID pandemic is over, is listening to the fans in this final section of the circuit. It's definitely got an atmosphere, especially, I love going back and watching it from the year 2000 when Rubens Barrichello won. There were air horns going off everywhere. He probably couldn't hear the own engine of his car. These drivers, I'm pretty sure they can hear their engines pretty good for two reasons. One, we don't have air horns in the crowds here on iRacing yet. And secondly, they are very loud cars. So here we go, Mick Claridge coming into that stadium section to finish his second and final qualifying lap.
Yeah, absolutely. This from the laps I've done offline around here, this is my favourite part of the track. Not just because of the crowd that, like you mentioned, Sam, but it's kind of got a technical feel to it, and you've got to be very smooth, very precise. As Mick Claridge comes up to the line, can he take the pole position? Yes, he can.
He improved his time. He's a tiny bit short. Yeah, he's a tiny bit short of Topi still. Here's Janne Lehmann, the number 14 car. Remember, this is an official iRacing session, so the numbers you see on the cars are based off of our iRating. And where's that put the 14? Let's put them up into 15th place. Still got a couple minutes left of qualifying here. Chris Murakami currently sitting up in 12th position. Let's see if he can improve a couple of tenths. We'll get him nicely into the top 10.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris is one of those drivers that he's always been there and thereabouts in the top 10 as he comes round the final corner now onto the home straight, and it looks like he's not going to improve his time.
Here's Andrew Eng coming into the pits. These cars have plenty enough fuel and tyres to make it to the end of all of the races this season without making any kind of pit stop, but he's going to test it out anyway. Hideki Kavisto of Finland out there on the track. Ove Trendre has just overshot the hairpin on his second lap. That is one turn I'm definitely going to be watching out for in the opening lap, is the hairpin. And not only because it's the best place for an overtaking opportunity and because it's the hairpin, so it's always going to get crowded there. But in the couple of laps I did with this car, Ryan, you better have your brake bias at a setting that you like for that hairpin, because if you're off a tiny bit, the rear end could get away from you, or you could lock the fronts up and plow into the guy ahead of you.
Absolutely, and the hairpin as well. It's one of those corners that you can get caught out really easy as well, just carrying a little bit too much speed. And if you're behind someone, it's so easy to just slightly nudge them and make them spin them around as well, because you're going so fast, and then all of a sudden you have to slow down.
into the final minute of qualifying, and 1:26.1 is the time that Topi Kortenemi currently sits on pole position with. It's a single split of 27 cars, so there is a little bit of a spread between the fastest qualifier and the slowest qualifier right now. 1:29.4 for Eugenio Massa, currently sitting 24th. 24 cars have turned a time. Manfred Bulbach, Robert Reynolds, and Colin Bentley have yet to set a time, and that might be intentional. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and qualifying is over, and it is time to go racing for 21 laps here at the Hockenheim at this outer configuration. Topi Kortenemi will lead the field from pole position ahead of Mick Claridge, just a couple of hundredths behind him. They have a few tenths over Michel Dudagnon, who has the number 1 on his car, the highest I rating in the field, starting third. Sean Campbell will start 4th place ahead of Rob Oljanek, rounding up the top 5. Ove Trantre will start 6th, and then Andre Schumacher starts 7th, despite having the number 22 on his car. Gary Till starts from 8th place. Eddie Van Velsen and Bill Tyler round out the top 10.
Starting on 11th is Laust Olsen alongside him in 12th. It's Chris Marikami with John Olsen in 13th, Robert Plumley in 14th, Yanni Leem in 15th, Rowan Ballbank in 16th, 17th Dave Cohen, Glenn Becker 18th, Randy Hoff in 19th, and rounding out the 20 is David Meyer.
Starting in 21st position will be Hideki Kavisto. Steve O'Malley starts 22nd. Andrew Eng and the aforementioned Eugenio Massa. And then our 3 drivers who haven't set a qualifying time but will be able to start from the back. 27 cars, and it's a kind of a short front straight, actually. I think tail enders might be starting in the middle of a final corner. Topi, meanwhile, Topi and Mick have a nice review of the first turn. Obviously, Topi has the advantage of the race and line, so it should help give him a better launch. Mick does have the inside, but would be a bit ambitious to attempt to move if he's anywhere behind Topi coming into the first corner. He would really have to get alongside him for that move to be on. The time at the top left of your screen will soon change to laps as the lights go red. It's a 21-lap race. The lights off and away they go. Topi leads them away. Mick Claridge does not get a good start. In fact, he might have to try and hold Michel Dudagnon off for 2nd position. Mick Claridge is going to be able to do it. Michel is out way wide into the runoff area. There's plenty of tarmac there, though. And up front, it is Topi Kortenemi pulling away from the field as they hit the first heavy braking zone. Still side by side for 2nd place as Dudagnon's actually falling back a bit.
Yeah, that was a bad start from Mick Claridge. He didn't get off the line that well, and he's going to be under attack from Sean Campbell by the looks of it, heading down to the hairpin. While Sean try and make a move, Claridge is going defensive to the inside. Campbell's going to try and go to the outside and maybe try and do a switch back as Michel Dudagnon's flying in. Oh, just misses the leader, and we mentioned it at the top of the show, how you really had to make sure your brakes were under you, so that's a 2nd mistake I think we've seen out of Michel Dudagnon, and he does have damage to the front end of his number 1 car, and that begs the question, does Topi have any damage to the rear end of his machine? I'm just having a quick look now at Topi's car, the rear of Topi's car, and it looks to be okay at the moment, so it looks like Dudagnon just missed Kortenemi.
Bit of a challenge for 3rd place going on here. Rob Oljanek, and a big moment from the driver a bit further up the road. Let's see if Rob Oljanek can try and get a good move out of turn 4. Sometimes it's very tempting if you get a good run out of that final turn to try and make a move into turn 1, but honestly, I don't think you should try and do it. There's much better passing opportunities into turn 2 and into the hairpin.
Yeah, absolutely. Is right on board with Oljanek at the moment, heading down to turn 2, and yeah, this is absolutely critical, this section, because you need to try and maximise the exit as someone runs right in front of Oljanek, who looks like Campbell. This is a section that you need a great run to try and carry that momentum down that home straight, and look at the car behind as well, and the hairpin. It's one of my favourite corners, but as we saw with Dudagnon, it's so easy to get it wrong.
So this is Ove Trantre on the inside and Oljanek on the outside, who is going to take that position. Once again, Michel Dudagnon in 6th place, taking a very wide line. Oh, we got one car having a bit of wheel spin issues on the exit of a hairpin there. I think we're going to see a lot of tyre smoke there all race long.
Yep, absolutely. As they come into the stadium section now, And Claridge at the moment, he's just keeping that gap up to Cortinemi, but looking back at Trengrade and Olenek as well, that coming into the stadium section, and it looks like Toppy ran a little bit wide there.
Yeah, Topi is definitely sliding around as they enter the stadium section. I don't know if it's a difference with the setup or a bit of a comfort issue going on or whatever, but Mick Claridge definitely looks to have his car under him a lot better than Topi Cortinemi does at the moment. They've completed 2 out of 21 laps here, and Mick Claridge, I think, definitely is the preferred driver at this state. If I was going to be a betting man, but that being said, he is the driver in second position. He's got to find a way by Topi, and here's a good opportunity to do it as they exit this left-hander kick here on the run down the back straight, and we'll see if Mick's close enough to make a move. He might not be.
Yeah, it looks like he's got the run on the Topi, but he's not close enough, I think, heading down to the hairpin. But these guys need to watch, because waiting in the wings in the background, you've got Sean Campbell and Rob Olenek and Ovi Trengrade as well, as Claridge just about runs into the back of Topi, but manages to get it slowed down just.
7th on back as a massive battle going into the hairpin. Andre Schumacher has just gotten passed by Bill Tyler. You see, one drop getting turned at the back there. That's Chris Murakami. But 7th place now belongs to the number 6 car of Bill Tyler. Andre Schumacher, though, wants to try and take it back. He's on the baby blue car on the inside here.
Yep, and it looks like Tyler holds on to the position as they head back into the stadium section. And I'm watching back up at the front as well. The lead has changed, and Claridge just took the lead.
Yeah, he did it coming into the stadium section. We'll get the play for you. It really came, I wouldn't say out of nowhere, because we saw him pressuring Topi, but obviously he got a really nice run coming out of a hairpin. I thought he was going to get the run coming into the hairpin, but here we go. You could be forgiven here for thinking that he wasn't going to make a move, but he just got a really nice draft down that long back straight now that they kind of get rid of that middle section here on the outer configuration, and was able to make a move as they came into the stadium section. But the race is not over. Topi is still all over the back, and Mick Claridge, who makes a mistake, a big sideways moment. Let's see if Topi tries to capitalize.
Topi's got the run, and I thought there was going to be contact there, just the amount of overspeed that Topi got, but Topi got the run. He's got the slipstream heading down to the hairpin. He's up the inside. Can he get the move done? It's going to be a battle of who can brake later and get the move done in the brakes, but both of these guys are still side by side, amazingly, on the exit of the hairpin.
Yeah, and Sean Campbell was watching this in the popcorn position back there in 3rd place, thinking, all right, what's going to happen here? Well, right now what's happening is Mick Claridge is getting the edge as they go down the back straight. This is where he made the move for the lead last lap around. This time, Topi's going to try and repay the favour, but he's not going to be able to do that. He's almost pinched up there on the curve, and it's kind of left the inside open for Sean Campbell. However, Sean backs out of it and remains in 3rd place for now. 1st, 2nd and 3rd, nose to tail. They've got about a second over the drivers in 4th and 5th.
Yep, as we come round to the final couple of corners now, and Claridge still leading from Cortinemi, and Campbell in the background there, and I think Topi can't afford to relax too much, because once Mick Claridge gets in that zone and that mindset, he starts to pull away. But at the moment, Topi's still doing a good job of keeping him in sight. Well,
it was about this point of the circuit last lap that Mick made a mistake that almost gave up a position. Not that turn 2 there, but this little left-hander kink. It is a tricky turn. Even in some GT cars, I think you have to lift through it a tiny bit. You definitely have to lift through it through these Lotus 49s, especially if you miss your line. And Mick Claridge is going to have to go defensive on the run down to the hairpin here. Topi much late on the brakes. Let's see if he's too late on the brakes. He's not, but P3 is. Sean Campbell almost got into the back of Topi there. Fortunately, was able to recover it, and he's still in 3rd with no damage. That being said, we haven't had any retirements from the race so far. There's only 26 cars, but Manfred Bullback simply didn't start, so that's why it's not 27.
Yep, as they come back into the stadium section now, and as Claridge gets a wee bit sketchy on the entry of the carousel hairpin.
Oh, I was reacting to a collision in the hairpin. I jinxed it. Colin Bentley and Steve O'Malley have had a collision coming out of a hairpin. Colin Bentley has had to tow to the pits. Steve O'Malley continues in the number 21 car with damage on the front end. It wasn't on the braking zone to the hairpin. It was going through the hairpin. I think Steve just got through it better than Colin did. So this is Colin, the number 10 car, already down in 23rd position. Not where you really want to be when you have a number 10 on your machine. And let's see what exactly happens here. Yeah, just two different lines and they intersected.
Yeah, it's such an easy thing to do in the hairpin, just because you're slowing down and sometimes the person in front of you is a wee bit slower, or like you say, some different lines. But back up at the front, this battle for the lead is still going on, and it was a 3-car battle, but now as actually the battle for the 8th position is going on as well between Andre Schub, well, a few cars in this pack anyway. You've got the Laust Olsen, Gary Thiel, Velsen and John Olsen.
Yeah, Andre Schumacher made a mistake a couple of turns ago. That's what got these guys all bunched out. Our eagle-eye viewers probably noticed that Sean Campbell got a couple of wheels on the grass centre in the hairpin. That cost him 3rd position to Rob Olyanek, but he's still up there with the lead pack. This is where the action... Well, actually, I think there could be action up front or in this battle for 8th. They're both fun to watch right now.
Yeah, and you've always got battles going on at the front, but you've also got battles in the midfield that happen as well, which is why I love calling the races in this series. But looking back up at the front, this battle was for the lead is still going on, and between Claridge and Cortinemi, and not too far behind you've got Rob Olyanek got up into 3rd place as well now.
Yeah, I thought like you did, Ryan. I thought once Mick got the lead and, you know, got the advantage, that he might have been able to run away with it. But Topi has been doing a very good job at keeping the pressure on here. We're coming up to a 3rd race distance at the completion of this lap, and it can definitely be said that either of these two drivers could win at this rate, and 3rd and 4th and even 5th aren't too far behind them if anything goes downhill for these two guys. Right now, Mick Claridge has been mistakes-free this lap around. He's certainly made the odd slip up here and there. But right now, that number 2 car is pacing the field. And there at the back of the picture, you see Michel Dudognon is still in 6th, despite the damage he got on his nose on the opening lap. Yeah,
Michel's kind of just by himself at the moment, but still doing well to keep in touch with this pack up at the front. But I think if he wants to finish on the podium, at least, I think he's going to have to hope that some of these guys in front of him have some issues. But at the moment, it's still Claridge leading from Cortinemi, and these guys don't seem to be letting up by any means.
And these leaders will have to deal with some lap traffic, as it's only a single split, so there are some drivers not quite going at the pace of the leaders, and it's a rather short lap time, of course, 1 minute 30. Got a good little battle for 15th place going on here. I can tell you Mick Claridge has just ran wide on the exit of turn 1. He's still holding on to the lead, but Topi is much closer to him. So giving our director a very hard time here, because if we're jumping around a lot because there's a lot of action going on. You never know where the next battle's forming. Well, I'll tell you where the battle is now, and that's for the lead. Here goes Topi. He's looking for the outside. He's going to be on the outside when they come up to the hairpin here. He's on the inside now through the kink, but that doesn't make a whole lot of difference. They're both hitting the brake pedal at the same time. It's really side by side, even Stevens as they hit the hairpin. Topi's going to try and attempt the over-under, but it looks like Mick's got a good enough exit they'll be able to hold off at this particular challenge.
And these guys scrapping amongst themselves. This is allowing Rob Olyanek and Sean Campbell and also Uwe Trengrade as well to close up in them. So Claridge holds on to the lead, but Cortinemi, I have to say, is looking really feisty.
Yeah, and once again, it was another mistake by Mick Claridge that kind of set this all off, where he ran wide exiting turn 1. And so he's definitely making more mistakes than I think we've seen him make at a few different races this season. And Topi has almost gone to the back of him a couple of times. I know these drivers have a lot of trust in each other. They're racing at the top of their league every single week. They're very respectful. They give each other room. But it only takes one bad netcode incident to kind of really upset things. Topi's got to be a little bit careful, I would say.
Yeah, I think that's what Topi's thinking about as well. He knows he's quick. You know, he's got the pace at the moment, and he's keeping with McLaren, who makes a mistake again.
I think I touched there. And Topi's lost a lot of momentum because of it.
And look who's joined the party now. Rob Olyanek has got a run on Cortinemi as they head down to the hairpin. and he's up the inside. Can he get the move done? Oh, he's up the inside of McLaren as well. Well, that's a bit, how can I say, Sam ballsy.
Yeah, that's 3 abreast coming out of a hairpin there. So Mick Claridge recognised what was happening. He gave Rob Oljanek room, but he was still able to beat him on the run out of a hairpin. But this is bad news for Topi Kortenemi right now. He started this lap in second, looking for the lead. He might be about to lose third place here.
Yeah, absolutely. As he head back into the stadium section, and Kortenemi again is he made a mistake. He clipped that inside curve and maybe slightly rattled at the moment. But I think he just needs to regroup himself and just get his head together again.
So now the challenger in second place is Rob Oljanek. Again, it's not Topi being aggressive that's really keeping this battle for the lead alive. It's all the mistakes that Mick Claridge keeps making. Not major mistakes, but every now and then he runs wide or gets a bit of wheel spin. Easy things to do in this car, especially on a new circuit that everyone's still learning a little bit. Lap traffic up ahead, that is the number 26 of Robert Reynolds. We'll see if he comes into play at all. But right now they're approaching the halfway point and we've got 5 cars fighting for the win.
Fantastic stuff between these lead cars, and Mick Claridge, you could probably pull away, but he just keeps making little silly mistakes. It's costing him, and I think he's doing well to stay in front at the moment. But Rob Oljanek, he's got the run heading down to the hairpin, but he's not close enough. And Sean Campbell under attack from Topi Kortenemi as well, and joining this battle as well now is a flying Norwegian is Ove Trengrid.
I think this is the first lap for a little while that none of the positions have changed, or no one's made any mistakes. They're still running pretty much identical to how they were last lap. A big slide for Rob Oljanek going into the stadium section there. He was really drifting that car through. These drivers are quite capable of doing that, but I don't think you want to do it too much. Here we go. They're coming up to the lap car of Robert Reynolds. Hopefully he'll pull to the right-hand side on the front straight here and let all 5 of them by. He's on the radio, so he's telling the leaders what he's going to do.
Yep, as he pulls over to the side now and lets them all go. So it's a good heads-up driving from Robert. Sorry, as yeah, that was a bit of a bad place to let him by, Robert. But,
I think he was caught off guard by how big this lead pack was.
As Ove Trengrid puts in the fastest lap of the race so far, so he's not messing around. He wants a bit of a piece of this action as well, but still it's Claridge leading from Oljanek, from Campbell, from Kortenemi and Trengrid, and Michel de Dion still all by himself.
And so Rob Reynolds, by the way, is running in 25th position of our 26 starters. Contact for the leaders! Mick Claridge gets hit hard by Rob Oljanek, and going by them both as a 3-car. Claridge is very slow. He's damaged.
Yeah, I wonder if it wasn't just looking at his steering now. That's off centre ever so slightly.
So Sean Campbell was the driver who took advantage and went into the lead. Topi Kortenemi followed him through into second position. We've still got 4 cars up here running close together, and to be honest, they're all looking a bit beaten and battered. I thought you weren't going to hit each other in these cars.
Yeah, I was about to say, I thought with these cars being fragile sometimes, that when it comes to damage, these drivers would be a little bit more aware. Oh, as Topi just about runs into the back of Campbell in the final corner, but just manages to get away with it.
So Mick Claridge has taken a tow to the pits. So at the very least, he's in the pits. The 3 of Sean Campbell running very wide. And that almost allows the door to be open for Topi. He's sticking his nose in there as they head off into the braking zone. And down the inside he comes. Again, very close wheel to wheel there on the exit. And we might have once again another 3-wide scenario as they come down a hairpin.
Yeah, it looks like Kortenemi's got the run heading down to the hairpin. Oljanek's got the run heading down to the hairpin. Are they going to go 3 wide? Yes, they are. Or they're just about to go 3 wide, but this is fantastic stuff.
Oh, almost more contact there between Topi and Sean. We saw that happen, that put Colin Bentley out of a race earlier, didn't it? Contact in the centre of that hairpin. We've seen it happen to Mick Claridge now. It's not so much a braking zone that's causing the trouble. It's all of them keeping off each other when the accordion effect comes into the play, right in the middle of a turn.
riding on board the Ruby as well, heading back into the stadium section, and I think he's in the perfect position, or as I like to call it, the popcorn position. He's just sitting there watching what these guys are up to, and he doesn't seem to be too eager to try and make a move at the moment. As I think the top three in front of him are just fighting like cat and dog, and I think they have to be careful though, because it's all good and well battling away, but if you get too aggressive, it can end up in disaster, like we saw the previous lap.
Yeah, it's getting very close here. So this all kicked off when Sean Campbell overshot the left hand in the stadium section, and Rob Olyanek took advantage, and they've been running wheel to wheel, side by side for about 4 corners now, and still neither of them getting an edge. We've got 9 laps left to go, and let's see if Topi thinks about making it 3 abreast. No, he's a little bit smarter than that, and right now he's boxed in, so he couldn't, even if he wanted to. Ove Trantre is the one sitting back thinking, yeah, this is going to end in disaster. Let's see who's going to have the edge when they come out of a hairpin this time. Can they keep it all off of each other this time? It's the 3 and the 4 who have been side by side for half a lap. In fact, if they can keep us up for 2 more turns, Sean Campbell and Rob Olyanek are going to have been wheel to wheel for an entire lap around this Hockenheim circuit.
Yeah, absolutely. And great respect between these guys as well. They're leaving each other just enough room as Rob Olyanek tries to hold on to the outside. Can he keep the inside for the next corner into this little hairpin? I think he can, and yeah, I thought there was going to be contact between him and Campbell there, but they're still side by side.
Yep, so we are going on 1 lap now that they've been racing this way, and the reason they can do it is because this pack has 4 seconds over Michel Dudagnon, but that's down to 3 seconds now, and finally we got a winner in that battle. It's Sean Campbell, so absolutely nothing changed because he was the one leading before they got side by side, but some great racing going on for a lap's time as they go through turn 1 with 8 laps left to go, and now let's see if Topi can try and take 2nd place from the 4 of Rob Olyanek. Looks like no, here we go. We're going to see all this again. Look how much Michel Dudagnon has been able to close in on them from behind now.
Yeah, he's been closing these guys down slowly, but it's just because they've been scrapping away, and as you can see there, he's still got a slight front wing damage, and it might have been costing him some straight line speed, but he's closing these guys down, and if these guys keep scrapping away... upside down! So Rob gets turned. We got 1 car on the sled. That's Topi Kortonemi, and he's going to be out of a race that he might want to tow quickly because we've got a pack of cars there coming through the hairpin. So this is the 3rd or 4th time we've really seen this lap. No one really making any aggressive moves. There's just such an accordion effect going through the centre of a hairpin that they're all getting into each other. Michel Dudagnon capitalised on all that to move up several positions. Yeah, and the person that's benefited the most is Sean Campbell. He's in the lead now, and because those guys got caught up with each other in the hairpin, that's allowed Campbell to pull away and build up a bit up to 3.2 seconds now.
Yeah, so 2nd and 3rd there is Michel Dudagnon and Ove Trantre. Let's see if they're going to work with each other and try and run Sean Campbell back down, or if they're going to try and race it out for 2nd place. But sure enough, you take a look in the pits now, and the 2 cars you see sitting there are Mick Claridge and Topi Kortonemi, who were 2 drivers battling for the win earlier.
Yeah, and the battle for P6 as well is going on at the moment. Andre Schumacher in a battle for 6th place with Gary Thiel, Velson, Olsen, and John Olsen as well. So this pack is starting to, it's been pretty much together for the race so far.
So they go into the braking zone. By the way, you can see on time in the scoring on the left-hand side of the screen, Rob Olyanek was able to get going again. He is in 4th position. So drivers making their way into the stadium section. This is Andre Schumacher, who's been doing a magnificent job. Remember, the number 22 car on his car means he has the 22nd highest rating of the 27 drivers in this single split. On paper, you wouldn't expect him to still be running up in 6th place, but he's doing a marvellous job of being able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. He's one of those drivers that kind of, when he puts the practice in, he's right up there. He can be quick, but just sometimes luck is not on his side sometimes as he head through turn 1, heading down to turn 2. But at the moment, like you say, he's doing a good job in 6, but he's under pressure from this pack of cars behind.
So Andre doing a great job so far, but we've seen how quickly it can all go south, in particular up at this hairpin here. It's the accordion effect that's been causing all of the incidents so far, and with these drivers, this many cars so tightly packed together, I think it's definitely a cause for concern as they come back down here once again. So they're hard on the brakes, they're going through the turn. Andre actually locks up. Whoa, with one driver very wide. So that was Laus who ran wide there. You can see, as Andre's giving up 6th position here. Gary Teal gets by. Oh, he overshoots. Heavily. Oh, that almost worked.
Yeah, Gary Teal managed to just save that, and it was a good save. I have to give it to him, but that could have ended up in disaster between him and Schumacher. And I think Schumacher kind of had a feeling that Teal might have ran wide, and indeed he did. So Schumacher back up into 6th place.
Still got a lot of drivers hounding him from behind though. 5 laps left to go. You can see in 2-minute scoring on the left-hand side of your screen that Sean Campbell is still holding a 3-second lead. Sean Campbell was our race winner last time out at Michigan, so he could be looking set for 2 wins in a row here. And actually, it's only he might be a new big threat here for McLaren, because it's only the 2nd race that he's scored points in this championship.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was a great race there last time out that he won, and he managed to just take it at the line. But looking at the battle for 2nd place, riding on board the Uwe Trengrade as well, looking at the back of Michel Dunion, and these guys are probably thinking or those guys are probably...
We got 6th. Eddie Van Velsen got by Andre Schumacher, and then as I think Andre was almost ready to relinquish the position, but he got a snap of oversteer on the inside and slid out into Eddie. Eddie went up on 2 wheels. Somehow the car didn't flip over, but yeah, Andre just way too hot there and basically dumps Eddie into the gravel.
Yeah, that was just unfortunate. I think Andre, like you say, he just got a little bit of oversteer, and he was about to let Eddie have the position, but unfortunately both of them ended up having a lot of slip. Oh, Cliff Marikami's had an incident.
Oh, get a replay of this. Oh, he got to the curb. He did that all on his own. I didn't know you could do that.
Well, I'm a bit gobsmacked at that.
Maybe the car was already damaged. I mean, he's way too high on the curb. But yeah, but I've never particularly thought of that as a heavy curb.
That'll be a clip to send into the iRacing not top 10 highlights.
Speaking of not top 10, Mick Claridge has gotten back out on track, but he is far out of the top 10, back in 25th position.
As we still look at this battle for 6th place going on at the moment, and Andre Schumacher under huge pressure from Gary Teal and John Olsen and Laus Olsen as well. So even though Andre's made mistakes, or little mistakes rather, he's still managing to hold on to 6th position. So he's having a great race so far, and all he needs to do is just hold on for 3 more laps. But with the other 3 cars behind him, that'll be no easy task.
Yeah, he's got quite a nice little gap behind this pack. If he were to fade to the back of it, he'd still get a decent 9th place finish. But I'm pretty sure he's not thinking like that. He wants to be at the head of this pack at the finish. Here we go. What's going to happen this time into the braking zone? We've already seen Gary attempt to move for 6th place once, and he overcooked it. It wasn't into this corner, it was into the next one. Andre has gotten a nice run out of a hairpin. Oh, he's on the grass though. He got out too wide, tapped the grass, had to lift, and maybe that will give Gary Till another opportunity here. Let's see if Gary can execute this a little bit nicer than last time he tried.
Yep, as I head into the center section now, can Andrew... Oh, I thought Andrew was going to try and do a switchback there, but I think Gary Teal thought wise to that and kind of kept his car in the middle of the corners. Andrew Schumacher's had contact.
Yeah, they all kind of accordion together on the exit of left-hander. John Olsen got into the back of Andre Schumacher, but fortunately they got away with it, and John is up a position into 7th.
Yep, so John Olsen having a great race in 7th as well, but back up to the battle for 2nd place between Michel Dudillon and Ovi Trengrade, and riding on board with Trengrade, he gets a good exit, but still Michel gets a great run or great exit as well, so Ovi can't really do anything, and I have to say Michel's doing a good job considering he's got a front end damage.
Yeah, well, I think that was a disadvantage at the start of a race. I think by this point everyone's carrying a bit of front end damage, so he might be all right. Well, they're coming up to start the final lap. I'm watching the battle for 7th in the hairpin. Schumacher has tried to go back by John Olsen, but has overcooked it. So they're about to drag race down into this braking zone once again. John Olsen able to retain 7th place. He briefly lost it in the hairpin. Andre Schumacher wants this position back. Going down the inside. I don't think he's going to make it stick. Here we come. Oh no, there he goes. He's sideways, he's off in the grass. And if he can briefly...
Oh. I'm not even going to deny it. I had to hold my breath there when I was watching. I was like, whoa.
Well, we did rejoin safe-ish, but there we go. We mentioned it a couple of laps ago that as long as he didn't wreck, worst he could fall down to was 9th. He's in 9th now. We'll keep an eye on that battle for 6th on back through 9th, which has been raging on throughout this race. Also keeping an eye on the battle for 2nd. As a matter of fact, I think we need to watch the guys behind Sean Campbell here, because Ove Trantre is trying to make a last lap lunge down on the inside of Michel Dudillon into the hairpin here. So this is a passing zone, and Michel Dudillon has gone in very deep. And then, of course, the second popular passing zone throughout this race is the right hand at the end of this straight. But Ove has lost a bit of time there. He got the worst exit out of a hairpin. Who's going to get 2nd? Michel Dudillon able to cover off a challenge so far. Oh, not a great exit though, but he keeps the track well blocked, and Ove can't do anything down on the inside here. Ove dancing over the brakes. He got a little bit of curb, which I think upset that number 7 car a little bit. He might be able to try one more dive down the inside. It's going to be an ambitious passing attempt, and these guys go side by side for 2nd place, and Michel will win that, but Sean Campbell is going to win the race, his 2nd win in a row. He won at Michigan, he wins here at Hockenheim, and mastered on the ovals and the road courses. I think we've got a new big name in Grand Prix legends as Ove Trantre does a little bit of celebration. Might not be the position he wanted, but still a decent podium place. Lars Olsen is going to win this little battle for 7th place ahead of John Olsen. As a matter of fact, he must have done that on the last lap, because John Olsen was ahead last time we checked out on him. And Andre Schumacher holds on for a solid 9th place finish. Eddie Van Velsen rounded out your top 10. Well, we are going to take a quick break here on GSRC, give us a chance to catch our breaths and see if we can get any couple of interviews. Mick Claridge normally comes in. I'm sure if he comes to join us, he'll have some thoughts. So stick around and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Hockenheim, where we just witnessed round number 10 of the Grand Prix Legends Championship here. And your race winner, when it was all said and done for the second week in a row, was Sean Campbell. Michelle Dudignon came home in second place, about 3 seconds down the road. Ove Trantre finished in third and Rob Oljanek in fourth place. Bill Tyler had a quiet race, didn't really mention him a whole lot, but he finished fifth. Gary Till, it took him a couple of tenths to get by Andre Schumacher, but he finally did it and got up to sixth place. Lars Olsen finished seventh ahead of John Olsen, and Andre Schumacher faded back to ninth, but still a good finish in the number 22 car. Eddie Van Velsen came home rounding out the top 10.
Finishing in 11th was Yanni Lehman, with Robert Plumley finishing in 12th. Heidiki Goibisto finished in 13th after starting 21st. 14th was Dave Cohen. 15th was Randy Huff, 16th was Glenn Becker, Eugenio Masia 17th, 18th was Andrew N, with David N. Meyer in 19th, and Roland Ballbank rounding out the top 20.
Then after that, we get all the cars who weren't on the lead lap at the end. Robert Reynolds went down on the lap early. Steve O'Malley also wasn't able to make it to the finish. And then we get to a few notable names here. Mick Claridge, Chris Murakami and Topi Kortanemi. Chris Murakami with a very bizarre rollover. Colin Bentley was the first to succumb to the accordion effect in the hairpin. Manfred Bullbatch did not start. All right, well, it looks like we have Topi Kortanemi here to speak. And Topi, you had a good race early on, but unfortunately it went downhill about the middle of the field. How tricky is it to get this car through the hairpin in a pack like that?
It's quite tricky. This is one of the few tracks where I use the first gear. So first of all, downshifting, heavy braking in the first, you might lose the rear very easily, and then when accelerating out of the hairpin, you have to make very quick upshift and still keep a little power slide on and get a good exit so you can pass the guy in front or the guy behind doesn't get past you.
Now, I understand, obviously, you were racing for the win in the first half, and here you are without a good result to show for it. I understand this is disappointing, but how disappointing is it? Is this a track you were really looking forward to?
No, actually, I just knew this morning that I was able to race. I was waiting to be called into work, but and so I didn't practice yesterday because I thought I couldn't race today, and I was let's try something, and then I was very surprised that I was on the pole. I didn't feel like a fast lap, to be honest.
A lot of drivers, including yourself, if I'm mistaken, were carrying a little bit of damage throughout the race. You know, even before the big accident, we saw cars bumping into each other in a hairpin. Was that upsetting the handling at all? Did that have any effect on you?
No, I don't think so. I think I had a COVID test with Mick on turn 2, maybe lap 7 or something. He had a little wiggle and nothing to worry about. But yeah.
Well, next week we go to Montreal. Are you going to be able to make that race? Is that a race you're looking forward to?
I will most probably be able to race then.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing you there. Commiserations on your finish there. Congrats on the pole, though. That's one for the record books, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks. Hey, and one more word. Steve O'Malley asked me before the race, because I said that I think I was low, and how did I do it? And I think I used too much of the loud pedal, but I think there's no limit how much you can use the throttle. The more the better.
It's definitely a tricky car to drive. Well, that was Topi. I'm sure he will want to forget today's race, but here's someone who's going to be very happy. And Brian, you have caught up with our race winner, Sean Campbell.
Yeah, Sean taking the win in a fantastic race. And Sean, I have to say, it looked hectic out there, but I guess from a driver's point of view, that was a whole load of fun.
Yeah. We went side by side for an entire lap, which was awesome. It did not. We raced super close for probably about 75% of the race, and then stuff went down, I think.
Yeah, we saw in the hairpin a few times as well. Cars were getting really close, and there was little bits of contact from time to time. Is it just one of those corners of these cars that is that's basically difficult to try and get a good exit, or is it just basically one of those racing deals that everyone was just close together, and I guess at some point something had to give, and unfortunately it did give. But hey, you on the other hand benefited from it and managed to build up about, from what I remember, around about a 3-second lead at one point.
Yeah, I think the hairpin, just with how fast the cars go in and how slow the apex is, they just all bunch up. So, and it's unfortunate that the contact causes like major damage sometimes. I think Rob gave Mick suspension damage just by clipping him, which was unfortunate.
What did you think of the Hockenheim track as well? Is it a car? Is it a track that you'd like to see on the schedule again in the future or for next season? What's your views on it?
I thought it was great with the long straights and all. It provided a bunch of like just come back with draft if you made a mistake out of the hairpin. So it brought really close racing.
And looking ahead to Montreal next week, looking forward to it. And if so, do you think you can take another win? Because at the moment, you took a win at Michigan and you took a win today. So I guess another one would be good.
It would be good, but knowing my likeliness to make contact with the wall, because I did at Michigan rather twice, I'm probably going to end up hitting the wall there.
And before we let you go, Sean, anyone that you want to give a shout out to?
Shout out to Rob, because super clean, side by side the entire lap. I guess that's about it.
Good stuff. Well, again, congratulations on another win, Sean, and looking forward to seeing you on track next week at the fantastic Montreal track.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. See you.
As that was the race winner Sean Campbell joining us, and I have to say, Sam, that was an absolutely fantastic race, fantastic battles going on, and I think Montreal next week with that Wall of Champions in the final chicane, I think it could be interesting with these cars.
Yeah, as Sean alluded to there, they had the lap 12 and lap 13. Well, lap 13 primarily, that we had our two leaders side by side for an entire lap. Not quite sure you're going to be able to pull that off at Montreal next week with all the chicanes around there, but you never know. We would like to thank all of the organisers and the competitors in the Grand Prix Legends for coming out this morning and putting on a fantastic show. Additional thanks goes out to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts, and you can see those listed on your screen. Also, thanks to June Lalonde, who provides us with our music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, Ryan, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check us out on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at facebook.com/globalsimracingchannel, or Instagram at GSRC_Gram. Join us live again this time next week for round 11 of Grand Prix Legends at Montreal. All of our upcoming races for our other series are listed on your screen, so be sure to check those out, mark them down on your calendar, and don't miss another second of exciting racing action. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.